decided to send ISCAL an open letter that would, if ISCAL agreed and signed, give the developers permission to continue working on the project without ISCAL's involvement. Because right now, due to copyright, nothing could be worked on directly without ISCAL permission, and ISCAL wasn't responding to anybody. Basically, a letter to take over the mod project. Needless to say, ISCAL didn't reply to that offer either. ISCAL, up until today, which is Jan 31st for Australians or Jan 30th for the Americans, said absolutely nothing on the matter and just continued to let the allegations spiral unchallenged.
Hello. 2 months ago, allegations were cast upon me while consensually chatting with a couple of adult women in the community.
ISCAL dropped his response video titled "I Got Cancelled." Kind of ironic because only a few months earlier he made an ironic title named "I Got Cancelled" as a Hermitcraft video. In this video he claims quite a bit. But first and foremost, he claims to be innocent. Right? That's what you do in a response, you claim to be innocent. No, he didn't claim to be innocent. He repeatedly, specifically, outlined that the conversations were consensual.
Consensually chatting with a couple of adult women in the community.
And that it's none of our business.
We've got emotions, feelings, and most importantly, a personal, private life.
Aside from literally right here where he says he's neither of these things.
The rumors and allegations portrayed me as a predator and as an abuser. I'm neither of these things.
He doesn't actually specifically deny any of them. Like this screenshot or this screenshot or this screenshot. He just goes, "I'm not an abuser." That's all he says. Which is not how you want to go with a response, especially if you are trying to get legal sides of these things involved. You can't claim defamation of your character if, number one, your character hasn't been defamed.
The Hermitcraft group that summoned me for 1.5 hours, time zones considered. I did not have any interest in joining that hearing, as I had at this point already contacted the police and the solicitor in regards to the alleged rumors and potential defamation.
Ultimately, the Hermit's responsibility as a democratically run business to decide whether they want to associate with someone who acts like you or not. And they chose not to.
It also shows that Hermitcraft should have waited with tagging me out as some sort of criminal to millions of people, both on their Twitter and on their Reddit.
ISCAL specifically also accused Hermitcraft of defaming him, when Hermitcraft themselves did nothing of the sort. They didn't do anything to spread the rumors. All they did was make a pure announcement. Guy said, "Hey, we got complaints. We asked ISCAL. ISCAL left. He resigned. He didn't give a proper response." And Stress Monster with him. Which ISCAL explains in the video as Hermitcraft, when they found out, they gave him a deadline to get in a call, which ISCAL, for the purposes of making himself look like a victim here, calls a hearing. It's not a hearing, it's just a bunch of people on the call for you to explain your side of things.
The Hermitcraft group a deadline, 1.5 hours, time zones considered. I did not have any interest in joining that hearing, as I had at this point already in regards to the alleged rumors and potential defamation. They advised me to not comply with Hermitcraft's demands.
They gave him an hour and a half to come in and explain that he which a bunch of people I've seen are calling it unfair that they gave him an hour and a half to explain his side of the allegations. Ultimately, if Hermitcraft doesn't want to associate with him because of his behaviour, they need to know then and there if that behaviour was accurate or not. Hell, he's lucky he got time to prepare. You kind of get jumped with this information. Usually you'll hop in a call and everyone will be there and they'll go, "And ISCAL, we heard this, this, and this. What is your answer?" But no, this time they went, "Okay, prepare all this, prepare whatever for an hour and a half. You got this, and then come to us with your facts, whatever the truth is." ISCAL was already in contact with a solicitor about possible defamation claims, and they advised him for some reason not to discuss it with the Hermits, probably because he might accidentally incriminate himself, whether he's actually a criminal or not. Which is in my subjectively correct objective opinion. But then instead of providing any proof to his side of things, by the way, which he just says all of this, he spends the entire response talking about how unfairly people treated him and them just presumed things about him without evidence. And in response, he provides zero evidence at all, zero, to back up any of his claims. He just says they did this, says this happened, says this. He also then threatens Hermitcraft and says that he knows how bad things go on behind the scenes and how unfairly they content moderate people.
Neither you nor Hermitcraft have any right to infringe my private life. There are lots of things that impacted my decision to leave and not join their hearing, apart from the police advising me not to. I've yet to decide what to share about this, but it feels good to no longer be told to keep quiet about certain things or be content moderated by them. I think everyone will understand that they weren't exactly as they were portrayed during my years in Hermitcraft. At the end of the day, colors were shown when they posted the tweets to spread the alleged rumors and when they didn't moderate the Reddit.
Very good. Because Discount, you had multiple chances to leave Hermitcraft, and in fact, you kind of did. During seasons 8 and 9, you were barely relevant. You were barely involved. You did 1 to 2 episodes each, and you barely participated. And you made the actual choice to come back for Hermitcraft season 10. You have videos about it on your channel about how you were going through personal stuff, but you love the Hermitcraft group. You even invited multiple of those Hermitcraft members, the same people that you were being bad people. You invited multiple of them to participate
This is
in
like a
Vault
real
Hunter
run.
series with you.
I might
Very
need to turn off the
intriguing.
YouTube video. I don't know.
Ultimately, Hermitcraft is a democracy. If you don't like the fact that
Oh,
some
wait,
of their
this.
members are not going
If
to be
I'm
happy
getting.
with some
I just
of
need to
your
lock the
actions,
fuck in, dude.
unfortunately,
Whatever, let's
that's
go.
not up to you to decide. It's up to the group. For example, Exumavoid, another Hermitcraft member, he made a joke title once for his Hermitcraft video. It was 2 miners, 1 cave. Now that's obviously a reference to 2 girls, 1 cup. And he thought, another Hermitcraft member came to him and said, "Look, I feel uncomfortable with that sort of title in our children-orientated community." I wouldn't say that's censorship. I wouldn't say that's content control. If I'm sure if you want to make a non-Hermitcraft related video, in fact, most of the hermits swear on stream where their YouTube audience isn't present and it's more of a mature setting, and the hermits do not monitor that. Also spends time talking about how much of a good person he is repeatedly throughout this.
That leaves people like me, a naive, who enjoys playing and creating video games online, extremely vulnerable. And in a time where I have always valued people's choices, defended the small.
What?
It is with great sadness I see so many people forgetting to think.
And making terrible jokes in the middle of very serious talk.
They require no minimum effort, nor attributes, just a grip and shout to the masses.
And then he just completely crashes out talking about how this cancel culture is comparable to literal witch hunts where they murdered and drowned people back in the 1600s. Fully crashes out.
The cancel culture can be compared with the witch hunts carried out in the 15th and 1600s, where people would attempt to drown a person, and if they didn't drown, they would deem
So you watch all of his Scout's response video, and in the end, this is what you get from him. He's a great guy. Trust him. He's a great dude. He just loves sports, okay? By the way, none of your fucking business, and the accusations of him being a manipulator are false. However, screenshots or everything are real, but they're taken out of context. But he won't show how. And also, you're basically attempting to commit murder on him by developers and moderators who had their own opinions. And yeah, they work for him. And yeah, like I said in my last video, they did send an email to him, a contract to him, asking him to allow them to continue the development of Vault Hunters. That's the whole thing. They get paid. They make a living off of Vault Hunters. And so does Iskall, of course. But Iskall wasn't communicating with them. 2 months of no communication with Iskall. And these developers have no idea what to do. But they Iskall even says that he thinks he has grounds to call them extortionate for sending that email.
5 a document that, according to my solicitor, can almost be seen as extortion.
That's ridiculous. To accuse the staff who worked so hard on this project of extortion for wanting to continue work on the project is ridiculous. Especially when you show no proof of any of their truths, of any of their thoughts being entirely unfair or valid. You don't even really bring it up. You just say, it's my project, how dare they? They put in just as much effort, and sure, maybe you paid them really well.
It is licensed under ARR, which means that any the developers have all received more than fair compensation for their time spent developing it. The person that seemingly now is in charge has received.
Maybe you did. Doesn't change the fact that you refused to communicate with them on the future of the project, which is a very, very crucial part, especially if they're being paid well. And I know you decided to fire them effective immediately for believing the accusations, even though you yourself did not say the accusations were untrue. You just said that it's not a big deal. Iskall, even if you don't consider yourself an abuser, other people are allowed to have that opinion, and I understand why you wouldn't want people who work for you to have that opinion. You're fully within your right to fire them, just like how Hermitcraft was fully in the right to fire you, because you don't appreciate the morals of your workers, and Hermitcraft didn't appreciate the morals of you. However, to go after them and accuse them of extortion?
It's over. It's fucking
over.
over.
To continue a passion
Oh, fuck this stupid
extortion
fucking
for
game.
wanting to finally get in contact with you and get some sort of answer about a situation you left them in the dry on? Hell, even if
Oh,
your legal team
fuck
told you
this
not to
stupid
talk to them
game,
about
dude.
the
Oh my
situation,
god.
You could have given them an update.
Oh. Oh, let's fucking go. I'm actually so fucking done with this.